Hey, listen to that. There's the tune. It's called Bayou, and it's from the Biomenace soundtrack, and it's probably going to be a good while before we hear it again. I can't believe it, but we've actually gone through the Shareware collection. CD by CD, we have done it. A nice 16 episode journey through these old obscurities and some well-known titles. We've had layman's analyses, meaningless chatter, and some occasional real talk. All in all, I really enjoyed doing all this, so to me it seemed only fitting to do a complete outro or a recap of sorts on this magnificent journey. Let's start with the production. The recording sessions were easily the best part for me, obviously, since it required the least amount of effort, to be blunt about it. Although I have to say, even that wasn't really easy. The volume discrepancies here and there, and the god-awful audio hiccups on some of the videos during the intro, and then there's the clock ticking even as we speak, and I've not really liked those things, but not a whole lot I could have done about it. And no matter what I've tried, these glitches always appeared after rendering, so I ended up being bested by it time and again, but I digress. Yeah, while the recording was the most fun and the easiest part, it still required a good amount of setup. I know my videos are extremely low budget and they might feel a little rushed. I still tried to make do with what I got, so I tried to record at the highest quality at the time, with the right aspect ratio so the footage wouldn't stretch, and I'd have a solid frame rate, fair amount of sound mixing, when I eventually got to separate the audio tracks, solid bit rates and all that. So yeah, setting up these sessions was honestly pretty daunting, and it kept me from churning out video after video, because somehow I always viewed straight and raw files as, quotations, low effort content. I know it's not necessarily the case if your commentary and charm can carry a whole unedited slap of footage in a captivating way, but I don't think that's ever been the case with me. So what I ended up doing was a solid handful of short breaks between the games, and I think I've actually managed to disguise that pretty well to keep a sort of a flow going. The biggest exception to this flow ended up being the egregious length of the Halloween Harry episode, but I guess I was just a little too smitten by the game, so that's fair enough, and in a way I feel like it was okay, since I've spoken of looser commentary and less scripted videos sometime in the past. I think it was on the channel's birthday video, so that's what I ended up trying to do a lot of the time in this series. Are sort of a let's play thing, without it being, again, just a chunk of raw footage with little to no effort poured into it. So as tough as it might have been for me to muster the energy to set up the sessions and then getting into the slightly perked up mood, I think sometimes I really reached the bar that I was reaching for, at least for a little while. As for the actual editing through the footage, I think I managed to do what I wanted. I'm really not the best at it at all, but I want to learn and improve and to be able to do it all alone. Sure, the quality checking was tough here and there, but for example, those text prompts, the boxes, when I had to confirm things post-commentary, I don't think I missed many, if any of those at all. And by far they ended up being my favorite editing trick, if you will. If you look at the last few episodes I made, well, there I made the little graphic with an undisclosed, simple, and by now discontinued drawing program. I'll let you figure out which one it was. And then I layered text on top of the box during editing, added those in and out transitions, and then as the final touch on the later videos was the sort of a CTR type filtering over the top of it. I really freaking liked it, and to be honest, I think they'll make more appearances in the future, since I don't think they were intrusive in the slightest. Sure, they can obscure videos, like features here and there, but hey, you can always move them around. Other notes about the editing. The syncing of the commentary, volume control, and the video transitions were occasionally a little tough, but there's a little curious thought that I have, and it's like if you watch a video and you don't end up thinking like, hey, this part must have been hard to make or edit, then that's when I've done it right. After all, I make these videos all by myself and I have to kind of adhere to my own conditions of quality. And honestly, that's the hardest part. I absolutely hated the moments when I was churning away at the editing and ended up hating a piece of my commentary or a line of thought that I kept going on and on and on about and couldn't really edit them out. Alternatively, a massive issue I had and kept thinking of is this fucking lingua franca. In my opinion, accents of vernaculars are really enriching qualities in languages, but somehow I can't tolerate myself making mistakes if I'm not in that mindset where I can laugh it off or mispronounce things intentionally, like reading lines as if they were written in Finnish. Again, I find it hilarious, and if that mindset persisted through editing, I ended up churning a video out completely in a single session, and then I ended up feeling like it was my best piece yet. Oh yeah, and the best pieces are among them. There's these occasional internet memetics like freaking Crazy Dave. I just had to churn those clips in, since for some damn reason these phrases and references just come out. I don't think a single one of my 206 bones is an original one. Like watching through the products after rendering, I found myself spewing the occasional inside jokes, but as it turns out, I'm the only one inside. But if someone catches them, hey, patrician taste you got there. Alright, what's next? Oh, the actual content itself, the games. I like games. Man, it was a blast finding these games. Went through a lot of nostalgic pieces, and after all, that's the feeling I based my channels on. I love watching other YouTubers with similar content, oftentimes with better quality, of course. I don't know, there's just something techno-magical about reminiscing and revisiting something after 17 years, or just replaying something that has aged well in your eyes, and these were the vibes I just knew were going to emerge from this, and now I have a good handful of extra megs on my hard drive for these friends. Like, I don't know if it'll happen soon, or if ever. If the if comes to pass, I got Visual Trek waiting there on the hard drive, right there for that day. I also got to play a lot of these games that didn't work too well, or as they should have back in the day, like Jazz and so on. Of course, we've had our share of strange or downright unwelcoming games. Looking at you, Big 2, the intro is just so damn haunting. And then, yeah, the scheduling these things was tough as nails. I got a lot of things to worry about, so sticking to that one episode per 3 to 4 days that I initially set as a schedule for myself, it was a little tough. It's embarrassing really if you compare that to the big boys on this internet playfield, but I'll ask you, what can you do? And the answer is, you gotta make do with what you got. That's all you can do, my friends. And lastly, I think that's about it for Shareware Vagaries. Honestly, big thanks to you all for watching them. A rough average of 40 views and an occasional like here and there. It's a lot more than I actually expected. So maybe people had some curiosity to peep at these videos here and there. And that makes me a little happy. And I hope your wasted minutes could have been spent in worse ways, since I know that if you're browsing my channel, then you're really close to scraping the bottom of the barrel. Let's be real here. But I do like numbers, at least in the good way. Don't make me go through arithmetics and actual math. I just like seeing big numbers, and again, 40 is plenty big at the moment. Oh, there's been the occasional really nice comments here and there, and a special shout out to Uncle Skull for his great taste in video games and YouTube channels. But yes, I'll wrap this up now. As for future plans, stay tuned. There is going to be something announced sometime after this video. Thank you kindly for watching. Keep it PMA, take it easy, rock on, and so on. Bye bye.